Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence and welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it and I hope that this video finds you well. Today we have a 2020 release from the company Coach and this one is called Coach Blue, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin my review of Coach Blue and I tell you if I think this is a fantastic fragrance regarding compliments, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance related content, if you like fragrance reviews just like these, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, special guests, and a whole lot more, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. All you have to do is click on that red button in the corner. And of course, please make sure to enable notifications by clicking on that bell as well. This way, whenever I do upload these videos, they will get delivered straight to your feed. So Coach Blue, I know this fragrance is available at fragrancex.com, but I actually purchased mine at full retail from Macy's, which isn't a huge deal. And I'm always excited to pick up brand new releases because I want to see how these brands are bettering themselves. If they are bettering themselves, I want to see what direction they're going in with their fragrances. If it is a flanker of an existing fragrance, I want to see how they've taken the original DNA and how they've expressed it in this new chapter or this new episode within the collection. And here, of course, we have a flanker of the original. Now, I do like the original. I think it's a very safe, very pleasant, very easy to wear fragrance. My only qualm with it, it was very similar to Dior Sauvage. Not as similar to Dior Sauvage as like Prada's Luna Rossa Black. I think that one is very similar to Dior Sauvage, but I do like the fact that this one is a little bit different from that. And so whereas the original is very close to Dior Sauvage, this one takes it in more blue territory. I know you're probably wondering how is that even possible, but it does have lime, absinthe, ozonic notes, cedar wood, black pepper. I'm excited to tell you more about the smell. Let's start with the presentation. So here's the box with this fragrance. It does have this faux leather texture on the box here. This is a leatherware brand, of course, Coach New York. Blue and the concentration are written towards the bottom, and I decided to purchase the 2-ounce size. All of your pertinent information is located on the bottom of the box, and you will find the serial number printed in black ink to the left of the UPC. The back is plain, and so is the top. The bottle for this one has this blue gradient, which I think is really cool, but I think it also takes inspiration from fragrances like Dior Sauvage. And the bottle also comes with this tab on the side here that just says Coach. Now, the atomizer for this one is very similar to the Bulgari atomizers. It kind of twists and locks, and that prevents it from spraying if you're carrying with you or traveling with it. And the distribution on the atomizer is nice and wide. Let's continue with the smell. So as soon as this fragrance opens up, you really are going to get the brightness of the citrus. In this case, it's lime. I don't really get anything that smells too strongly of lime. Usually when it comes to a lot of citrus ingredients, there are some fragrances that smell very organic. The original Coach, as a matter of fact, the original Coach for men, which is now discontinued, had like one of the most realistic grapefruit openings. And I really enjoyed that one, and it's a shame that it's discontinued. Then there are some great yuzu fragrances. In that case, it's 20 Iconic Masculine. And there are some great orange fragrances, Bigarade Concentré by Frederic Malle. In the case of this fragrance, do I think it's one of these benchmark lime fragrances? Not really. I just think there's a lot of citrol, citronellol, other aroma chemicals that are giving the impression of citrus in the opening, but the citrus is very nice, very pleasant, and I can see how that absinthe, whether you want to call it absinthe or wormwood or artemisia or whatever else is going on in here, there's a little bit of this aromatic component in the opening that I actually quite do enjoy. But then very quickly, the ozonic notes start to take over. That ozonic accord starts to take shape, and it really clarifies and defines the direction that this fragrance goes in. So very early on, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, it's one of these fragrances. And I don't mean that as a knock against the fragrance. I just feel like this is the type of DNA that definitely has an audience for it. And there are definitely a lot of people out there that are a fan of these types of fragrances, but it almost goes in like this shower gel kind of a direction. And you know what I'm talking about. You've smelled a lot of these fragrances where they sort of just enhance that feeling of coming out of the shower. I think Prada fragrances do that, but in a different way. They kind of smell soapy with that clean iris in there. This one really just smells like shampoo or shower gel, but there's nothing wrong with that. You just smell very clean, you smell very laundered, for lack of a better word. You smell well groomed, and you just smell like you just came out of the shower. So this is a great fragrance if you just want to smell like a well-groomed gentleman. But I know there are a lot of people out there that are a fan of the more complex, the more daring, the more rich, pushing the envelope types of fragrances. And I don't think you're necessarily going to get that with this fragrance. I know the one, I think it's the intense version in the silver bottle. That one might be more your cup of tea, if those are the types of fragrances that you're into. But if you like something that is in blue territory, but something that doesn't bear as strong of a resemblance to Dior Sauvage, because now, you know, it's such a ubiquitous fragrance, it's gained so much momentum and so much popularity over these past few years, I think this one will be a healthy deviation from that sort of DNA. But I do find that this fragrance kind of, while it does stray away from that Dior Sauvage DNA, it starts to overlap or veer into the shower gel DNA. So I mean, I do like that aromatic property of the fragrance. I do like the citrus in the opening. It's very opening, very effervescent, very pleasant. It doesn't smell soapy at all. Yes, it does smell ozonic. I don't get much of that black pepper appeal in here, although black pepper is an ingredient that is found in Dior Sauvage. So if a little bit of that is carried over from the original, it is believable, it is convincing. But I do find that this one is fresh. It's great for the summer, very appropriate for the summer, which is the season that we're now exiting. So I don't think now is an ideal time to purchase this fragrance unless you're looking for a really good office fragrance. But I think that there are far other office fragrances out there that will give you more uniqueness and more originality for your money. However, if you just want to smell clean, you want to smell fresh, you want to smell well groomed, you want to smell not overly complicated, you want a DNA that's going to work well and has that mass appeal factor, it's going to resonate with a lot of people, you don't need to think twice about what to spray on. Hey, Coach Blue is a decent fragrance, and at the same time you are also straying away from the original, which is more in the vein of Dior Sauvage. So at least in that case, nobody is going to mistake you for wearing something similar to this overdone and overused designer fragrance, right? So I think it's a decent fragrance. You know, I think I've smelled a lot in my journey, and so I'm really more intrigued by fragrances that have an added layer of complexity or intrigue to them. This one, on the other hand, is a little bit too simple for my taste, but that's not to say that there isn't a space or a spot for it in the market. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness in the overall smell, not much uniqueness, but the overall smell is great. I think when you smell it, you're going to fall in love with the fragrance. If you are a fan of those very simple, plain, designer, mass appealing fragrances, you're gonna say, yep, this one is going to do well, it's going to get me compliments. So in terms of that mentality, that mindset, do I think this is a compliment getter? 100%. If you're in the market for compliments, you're looking for a fragrance to accomplish that, this fragrance will 100% get you compliments. It will. It's going to do very well. And I think that if you are in the market for something a little bit more complex, something a little bit more interesting, I don't think you're going to find that here. There's nothing overly sophisticated or mysterious or deep about this fragrance. It's just a very casual, lighthearted, fresh, well-groomed sort of a composition that just smells very pleasant, right? Longevity on this one, 6 hours. So if you can deal with that, and if you don't want something that's beast mode in terms of performance, I think it'll serve you well. Projection was fantastic for the first hour and a half to 2 hours because it does have a lot of more volatile ingredients, but then it started to sit a little bit closer to the skin around that 4.5 hour mark. Versatility on this one is pretty good, I would say. I think anybody can wear it, you know, meaning anybody of any age. I do think that it leans in masculine territory because it borrows elements from other well-known masculine fragrances, or men's fragrances, I should say, not necessarily masculine. But I do find that the hotter weather is the best time to wear this. So if you do live in Florida or California or in a place where the weather is nice and warm all year round, I think this would be a great fragrance for that. Or if you're just looking for a fragrance to wear in a climate-controlled environment, I think you're gonna do really well with Coach Blue too. But I think that now, since we're entering the autumn, I would probably dismiss this one. I wouldn't wouldn't think about this one. There are a lot of other fragrances that you can check out that start to go in that sort of deep, warm, rich territory that you might really enjoy. And the presentation on this one, I think it's kind of cool. I like the locking atomizer. I like the tab on the side. I like the coloration, the gradient on the bottle. My final verdict for this one is it's a very easy fragrance for me to recommend to other people who are maybe just getting into designer fragrances. They want something very safe, mass appealing, compliment getting, tried and true DNA. But if I want something for myself, something that will provide intrigue and interest and allure, this is not it for me. But that doesn't detract from the fact that I think it's a very pleasant smelling fragrance, and it's one that is likely to do well among the ladies, if that's your thing. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was my review of Coach Blue. If you own or have tried this fragrance or any of the other fragrances within this collection, please let me know what you think. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to subscribe for future videos. And of course, that includes fragrance reviews just like this, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, special guests, interviews, and a whole lot more. Thanks again for watching. I love you all. We'll see you soon. Bye.